Hey YouTube. So I did a couple videos about the ketogenic diet a couple of years ago when I was brand new to it and extremely fired up about the what the diet was doing for me. And so I wanted to kind of come back and give you a kind of a review of 5 years of doing a ketogenic diet. So if you watch my previous videos, and I'm sorry if you did because they're in horrible quality, you'd know that I'm a type 2 diabetic. In addition to that, I have had almost constant chest pain since I was about 18 years old, and lived a lot of my life thinking that I wouldn't live very long, because I would have, in addition to the chest pains, I would have sort of like flushing and lightheadedness and all sorts of interesting things, and doctors couldn't figure it out. So yeah, those are my existing health issues. Well, also I tend to have bouts of depression every once in a while. So also have mental health issues, but yeah. So I've been unhealthy most of my life. That's what I'm trying to say is I've felt like shit most of my life. And when I discovered the ketogenic diet, it basically opened the world to me. It changed my view of the world. It changed my view of my future. I started investing in myself a little bit more, because I, was no longer thinking I was going to, maybe die in my 30s or 40s from a heart issue that no doctor could figure out. And yeah, it's just basically my world. Along the way, I discovered, you absolutely need to supplement with potassium, or your bowels aren't going to move and you're going to get clogged up and feel like terrible garbage. But that's really the only hack that you need to add on to keto. Along the way, I learned how to cook because I kind of had to. When I started this diet, there was no real selection of keto products out there. So I had to go from eating microwave meals to cooking my own food every single day in the name of not only my health and dietary variety, but also frugality. Processed food's very expensive. So in my earlier videos, I'll show you my refrigerator, and then it's just full of processed food, and some people nagged on me for that. It's not really the case anymore. Actually, I generally don't eat processed food unless it's like like a keto ice cream or something, that's been pre-made. But other than that, it's just raw ingredients, meat, greens, nuts, eggs, cheese, things like that. So yeah, that's been fine for me. There's been no drama over the last 5 years. I've only felt better over time. The first 1 to 2 years was the best, though, because it was such a rapid change in my body. And I mean, the type 2 diabetes completely went away. I actually had some blood work done when I had a bout of, I think it was like C. difficile. It's gross. You can look it up on the internet if you want to find more. But I had blood work done, and my blood work was almost perfect. The only thing that was bad was that my creatinine levels were elevated. But then again, I take creatine and a variety of other supplements that are known to increase this, and I was also extremely internally dehydrated from the C. diff. So I would say that my blood work's perfect, and that was taken in after about 4 years. The amazing thing is actually my potassium levels were in line. So whatever I'm doing to supplement potassium is working just fine, and which is just kind of like an occasional hit of potassium chloride or citrate, in a drink. Maybe, like a scoop or two every once in a while, not on any kind of schedule or anything. But potassium was perfect. Blood sugar was below average, which is completely normal for somebody on a ketogenic diet, since you're burning fat primarily for energy and turning it into ketones. My cholesterol levels were great. So, I mean, in a lot of areas had better than ideal results, and most people eating a standard American diet are not getting those kind of results. So I was very proud of that, to see that blood work and have sort of a confirmation after so many years that this actually does work. As far as keeping the weight off, I've had a relatively easy time, and when I've put weight back on, it's been completely my fault. So I lost pretty much all of my weight over 2 years. I took kind of like a slow train approach. I figured, it might be a little bit easier on my skin to sort of deflate very slowly. And still I have some loose skin and whatnot from losing like 90 pounds or so. And yeah, after that, it's just been essentially like autopilot. Like, it's my default diet. I can't think of any other way of eating. I don't want to go back to being very depressed randomly, or having chest pains, or having symptoms of type 2 diabetes and then having to go get insulin and all sorts of medications and dying very slowly. It's not appealing to me at all. These days I kind of will cheat on a holiday, and it's kind of like a Rumspringa type event where you just have to go out there in the world and remember what it was like to eat the way that other people eat. And every single time I feel like crap. Like, I mean, you feel like when you eat a bunch of carbs at once when you're on a keto diet, like you get a little energy boost, and then you feel like worse for like hours. So it's like the world's worst drug. It's mostly hangover. So I still do that just to kind of remember, where I came from, and also engage in a little food nostalgia, because I used to like Asian food a lot and things like that. And as far as maintaining my weight, it's pretty much effortless. Over the last 2 years, I've gained about 10 pounds, and that's because I got a little too cheap with food and started accepting carby stuff, and said, I'll just eat this right before I go to the gym. But it's like I didn't manage to burn off all the carbohydrates at the gym, so they kind of packed weight on me, and very slowly over time, I got 10 pounds back, and I'm not really happy with that, but it's something you can fix. The great thing about a ketogenic diet is that it changes the way your appetite works. I mean, it sort of puts you in control of your metabolism, especially if you're a person like me that has type 2 diabetes, where your metabolism is completely out of control and completely dysfunctional. And for me, it was like being handed the steering wheel finally, after being in the back seat of something that was accelerating towards a cliff. So I know that I can lose those 10 pounds if I put the effort in. It's not going to be a problem. The one thing that is a little bit hard is when you're sort of at the end of your weight loss journey, your body, even on keto, kind of wants to resist getting below a certain body fat percentage. So the only real cure for that is to do intermittent fasting, in my opinion. And even though I'm not a fan of religion of any sort, I decided to take the idea of Ramadan and turn it into a fasting regimen. And I could be wrong about this. It's just I read about it on the internet really fast, and it seems like they will eat 3 hours after they wake up, and then not eat anything, and then 3 hours before they go to bed. So it's sort of like a half fast, I guess. And I did that for about 2 months, and I lost the last 15 pounds. And given that your weight loss kind of like slows down as you get closer to the weight that your body wants to be at innately, which is maybe, I don't know, 10-15% body fat or something like that. I lost weight very fast doing that, considering the sort of the taper off that I was at when I was about 190 pounds or so. It's like I was losing maybe a couple pounds a month at that point, and it was just like exponential difficulty level. But then I did intermittent fasting, and it went crazy. So I'm probably going to do another round of that at some point to get this last 10 pounds off and feel a little bit better about myself. But other than that, like, I don't have a lot to say about keto that I haven't said already. I think that people that run around and say that it is only a diet you should do short term and that it's unsafe to do for long term are completely full of shit, and probably have never looked at any studies stating that. There's a lot of scientific studies out there that study a subject for only like 1 or 2 weeks, and that's the adaptation phase. So if you were to look at their blood markers and their weight loss and everything, it wouldn't look too good. So it's almost like these studies are designed to make a ketogenic or low carb diet look bad, because during the adaptation phase, your body's undergoing like changes at the cellular level. Like your mitochondria is figuring out what the hell to do. Your your pancreas is readjusting, your liver is readjusting, and it's figuring out how to make ketones out of fat, and all sorts of things are going on. There's a huge list, and it's just a complete you're a mess for a little while, like for a couple weeks. My adaptation phase only lasted a week, and then I was right in there. Like for me, it was like night and day over the course of a week. It was amazing. But for most people, it's not like that. It's a slower change. Their body's in disarray, and then eventually they get to this point where the body's operating correctly. So I really think that a lot of these studies are designed to make a ketogenic diet look bad. There's a lot of people that do not want you eating it for various reasons, mostly financial. And then the whole claim about you'll lose weight and then it'll come back on. It's not my experience. This is the only way I can keep weight off and not be a fat person. And so I don't know. I've seen other people's experiences. They tend to gain the weight back on when they start eating carbs again, which is not a surprise because that's how they got fat in the first place, right? Like you find something that works and you stop doing it, and then it doesn't work. So I mean, of course, this is not meant to be a crash diet, which a lot of people are selling it as. I mean, even on goddamn Woman's World did a couple features on it. It was like, lose 20 pounds in 1 week, like eat this weird thing. It's a magic solution. And fine, it'll work for a week if you do it for a week, but if you do it properly, it'll work forever. So there's an amazing amount of people pushing misinformation about a low carb diet these days. It's because it's getting more popular. It's the same thing that happened with Atkins. Atkins was a cardiologist that sort of crossed into the realm of diet and really made a very strong push into the USA and other countries to sort of get people on board with this idea. And he got maligned by dietitians, vegans, government bodies, everything. Like his whole career after a lot of people found out about him was just like flinging off attacks. And a lot of these attacks were also wrong. So we're still going through this today. I just think there's a lot of people that are not interested in you doing this because there's a lot of money to be gained from sick people, to be honest. Somebody who has type 2 diabetes is going to require tens of thousands of dollars of treatment every single year. So once you decide to throw away your insulin and pharmaceuticals, then Novartis and whoever else is Novartis the company? Novolin? You'll have to look it up. It's the biggest producer of insulin I'm thinking of. They're losing a lot of money. They're losing a huge income stream, and it's not good times for them. Even companies like Coca-Cola and Barilla Pasta and many others actually have teams that try to influence dietary science, and they actually fund studies and things like that to try to keep you continuing to eat that stuff. And they're also disinterested in you continuing to use their products. So there's just a lot of bullshit going on. Another thing that's been going on that I've noticed lately is the gimmicks. The gimmicks are getting really popular. Things like egg fasts, fat bombs, really weird fasting regimes that are kind of questionable, not supported by science. There's the snake diet guy. There's high protein keto, which is, I don't know if you could really call it keto. There's different beliefs about what calories do. Some people believe in calories in, calories out. Some people think that if you just eat infinite calories, you'll lose weight just because you're doing keto. And there's just an amazing amount of misinformation. I urge anyone that's actually interested in this diet to sort of go back to the Atkins books and also read. Oh, hold on. There's one asterisk. When you find an Atkins book, find one that is written by Robert Atkins himself, because the ones that are written after him are garbage. The Atkins company just went to shit after he died. They started adding more carbs to things, and they started going soft to try to increase mainstream appeal. I don't know. but I wouldn't follow a modern Atkins diet or read any of the books produced by the Atkins company anymore. Take one from before 2003 and consider it your Bible. These are very good books. I've picked a couple of them off the thrift store racks and went, yeah, this is like a keto Bible. It's got everything in it. And so, I mean, he doesn't call it keto, he calls it his diet, but I mean, the concept's been around for hundreds of years, so it still applies. So, and then also I would recommend going on the Reddit keto page. It's reddit.com/r/keto. Read the FAQ and anything on the sidebar. You can almost ignore anything that's actually posted in there because it's mostly progress pics and not a lot of scientific stuff these days. It's really it's just got too big and out of control. But there's still good information in the FAQ that is good for getting you started. And absolutely, find some form of potassium. I buy one from bulksupplements.com. It's potassium citrate, and it doesn't have much of a flavor, and it's really cheap. If you go to like any supplement store and you try to find it in pill format, you're going to find a couple milligrams a pill, or 3% of your daily intake. That's because of a government law that says you cannot sell that in pill form to a certain strength so that people can't commit suicide using it or kill other people, because too much potassium is actually extremely dangerous. So you're going to have to find other sources because it's the one thing that the diet lacks. So other than that, this is all pretty simple and well known, and it's starting to get finally popular. Now there's a variety of ketogenic diet products. I would urge you to absolutely scrutinize the labels on those and understand the difference between sugar alcohols and real sugar. And some companies are still lying about how much effective net carbs their products have. They're counting sugar alcohols as 0 when the sugar alcohol itself, one like maltol, will have at least a 50% impact on your blood sugar. So just be skeptical. The best way to do it is to cook for yourself. And if you're like me, I'm married, but me and my wife cook our own separate foods. So I'm essentially cooking for a single person. What I do is I will cook in batches. So I will make 2 pounds of chorizo, 8 eggs, a little bit of black beans, and have burritos for like a whole week. And it's, about an hour of cooking. So it really cuts down the prep time. I just have, everything that I want for the meals I want for that week in little plastic containers, and I just take it out and nuke it. It's like making your own much more healthier microwave meals. So that's my kind of hack for eating healthy, is to just have a meal prep day like on Sunday or whatever, and do that. So yeah, I think you can figure out the rest. If you're watching these videos, you're not an idiot. So the summary is ketogenic diets are awesome. I feel awesome, and you should do it yourself. All right, talk to you later. Bye.